Hello and welcome along to another end of season review from this FM20 Dorking Wanderers story with me, Daniel. It's our 9th end of season review, and today we'll be taking you through all the usual aspects, talking about what we expect to do this summer in the transfer window, squad regeneration, things like that. We'll also be talking about the English pyramid and the footballing competitions across Europe, just to see how they've been going each season, and we'll also talk about a couple of other things too, and we'll have our end of season player of the year vote, something we've had in the last few years. We'll also reveal last year's winner, of course, as well, so hopefully you're looking forward to all of that. I really do appreciate your support with these end of season reviews. They've gone down really well this year, and I really do want to do more of them in the future, so thank you for your support with those. If you are new to the channel though, before we get started, make sure you catch up with this story so far, especially this season, as you will get a spoiler or two otherwise along the way. I've started on this transfer screen to make that as small as possible, so just a couple of players that we're looking at, the usual youngsters we try and get in. But otherwise, please do put a thumbs up on this video if you're looking forward to it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn that notification bell on because we've got a few new things coming to the channel this week too. So firstly, from those, on Sunday I'm hoping to do my first ever live stream. That will be in the early afternoon with a transfer special from our other series, The Head Coach. Of course, in that one we don't have any saying transfers or contracts, so we'll just be watching our director of football work. It'll give me a chance to interact with you. Hopefully you'll come along and check it out. Apologies in advance if it's awful, but I will try my best to make it entertaining. And then also, of course, we've got our new stadium review episode starting on Sunday as well. That's at the normal time of 4:30. So myself and a friend trying to do the 92. We've lost the opportunity to go to games now, so we're talking about all the grounds we've visited. We'd love to get you involved in that as well. So get down in the comments to each episode. Let us know how you found the ground if you've been there before. If it's your own club, any little quirks that we may have missed. We're trying to be fair, so we will probably upset a few people, but it will be absolutely great to get as many of you involved as possible. So if you're a football fan, please do pop along for that. But today we're focusing on Dorking Wanderers and the end of another season. So for those of you that weren't here, you're about to get your big spoiler. We are promoted to the championship. We've done it as champions. We reached 100 points. So firstly, apologies for being slightly late today. If all has gone well, this is out of 5 rather than half 4. That's just due to a hectic morning at work. But let's look at the last couple of games of the season. After you were with me when we wrapped the league up at Blackpool, we lost 2-1 at home to Accrington. Alan toured off with a goal off the bench, but otherwise a few of the youngsters came in. It wasn't quite our best performance, but then a 1-0 win at home to Wigan the last day. Craig Maguire with his first goal for the club. Really pleased with that. That gives him a bit of confidence for next year. He's a good young player, massive potential. We've just got to get that personality up. We'd love him to reach it. He's training well, everything's doing well off the pitch, so fingers crossed he will be a big player for us in the future. But that's the 2 games rounded up. We'll start as always with our end of year review, and I'm actually prepared today. So I've already planned the players. We always select all of those who we think will be moving on, those that we might have no choice in, and I've sort of separated them into 2 groups today. So the first 5, sorry. Harvey Rue and James Thompson transfer listed. That will happen with immediate effect. Wharton's loan ends, he will be leaving. Cotton and Cook will be leaving the club when their contracts expire at the end of the year. They're not warranting over £1,000 a week each. Tordoff and Holcroft, now their loans end this season. I'm not sure about keeping them. So Tordoff's out of contract at his current club. He's on £15,000 a week there. So unless his wage demand's reduced, we won't be keeping him. We can get him down to £6-7 a week maybe for the championship. That's probably the top end of what I'd want to go. 4.5 I think is our current highest. That's Ollie Robinson, the goalkeeper, who's obviously come in from Sunderland. So if we can keep it to 5 or 6, I think that's fine. Maybe 7 at a stretch, but I don't really want to be going into that sort of 5-figure territory. Harvey Holcroft, it's just whether they'll sell him. We don't want to use one of the loan places in the squad because Peter McLaughlin's really improving. He's a player who's going to be first choice next year. So if we go down to him, he's already 3-star. He's level with Holcroft now. Training well, improving well, playing for Northern Ireland. We've got to get him involved. So Holcroft, it will only be if Leeds will sell him. Then we've got the ones that we're sort of not sure about. That's Connor Jackson, basically. He might be transfer listed. He might be a backup. Just depends, basically, if we keep Tordoff or get a right winger in. At the moment, it's Tordoff and it's Craig Maguire. We've also then got our under-23s keeper. So Harry Campbell, who was the experienced third choice, and Oliver Deadfield, who was a youngster that didn't make it. They'll both go at the end of their contract. The same for Matt Edwards and Lawrence William Bowers. Great name, but he hasn't quite made it footballing wise. They'll leave at the end of their contracts too once they return from their loan deals. But it's not a massive regeneration. Normally we've got a list of 16, 17 here. We're talking about 8 or 9 positions we need players. That isn't the case this season. So if we go back to the squad and put them in order, we'll obviously do the end of season review for these players in a moment. But I just want to talk about what positions we're going to need. So in goal, with Robinson signing a new deal and Jonathan Mitchell as a happy backup, I'm happy. No need to make changes there. At right back, we've got Barry Cotter. We desperately need to replace Saxon. So our first choice right back is a must. At centre half, I'm happy with Parsons and Walker staying. I'm also happy with Joe Wilson. So it's just replacing Harvey Roux. Fourth choice centre half, can be a backup, can be a youngster. No problem with that. We've got to prioritise where we go big here. We need to keep the budgets protected because we are expected to come back down. So I'm not going to go mad in the window. We've got Luke Thomas at left back. Shane Thompson the other one as well. Really happy with the cover in that position. But what if we get a big offer for Luke Thomas? It's unpredictable. But for now, I'm happy. No left backs coming in. Central midfield, Moles, Smith and McKinnon. But hopefully we've resolved the fourth one in that area. That should be Adrian Bentley if he signs. Already rated 2.5 star at Chelsea. We'll meet him at the start of next season if we get the chance. So hopefully on Saturday we'll be introducing him, as that will be our transfer special episode, of course. On the right wing, we've got Wharton going back from his loan. It all hinges on Tordoff there. If we keep him, we need nothing. If we don't get him, we need a new first choice. Or we gamble and play Maguire and leave Jackson as a backup. That seems a bit weak for me though. And then Everett on the left wing, but he's got no one else there. So maybe Lindsay can cover out there, but I haven't got a second left winger. So I'd like someone stronger. So a first choice left winger, that's a must for me. And then in attacking midfield, we've got Peter McLaughlin. We just need a backup. And up front, John Webb and Lindsay staying. No action required. Good to see. So that's where we are at the moment. I don't think we're going to need a huge regeneration. I want to give most of them a chance because they are good players. They're probably not great by championship standards, I'm not going to lie to you, but we have to keep the budgets in check. Don't forget, for the first time this year, we're improving the facilities as well. So a couple of you asked actually in the comments recently, our facilities haven't changed since the start. So we're below average for training, we're poor for youth, limited recruitment, basic academy coaching. This is the first summer we've been able to do so. So we're going to be making some changes there. We're getting work to the training and youth facilities, both expected to be completed later this year. Those will give us massive upgrades, take us up towards those average ways. So I'm really looking forward to starting that. If we stay in the championship, great, we can continue to improve. If not, at least we've had one upgrade and we'll stay in that position. We have no idea what's happening with the stadium yet, so fingers crossed there'll be some action on that front. But otherwise, I'm really pleased with how things are. So that's where we stand at the moment. That is how it's looking at Dorking Wanderers. That's what we're planning for the summer. Let me know in the comments if you disagree with that. If you have any problems with the players we're looking to bring in, anyone who you don't think should be going, I don't think you can really argue with that list though. It's very limited. And obviously some of them, like Tordoff, we desperately want them to stay, but it just might be taken out of our hands. But let's go and have a look at the selection info. This is the end of season review, so we want to talk about all the brilliant performers. Russell Wharton, I feel sorry for him. He's had injuries all year. The one game he did play in the cup, he was brilliant. 2 assists, but let's not focus on him. John Webb, top of the pile, 30 goals. What a signing. What a signing he was. And when we end up doing our player of the season vote in a minute, I think he might be the favourite somehow. We've got Matthew Smith up there. Cole McKinnon did well. Luke Thomas was a revelation this year at left back. Nearly left us 18 months ago, but what a player he was. Tordoff again, absolute superstar out wide. Connor Jackson, not a big player for us, but what a surprise he was. Super sub in that first half of the year. I'm really pleased with how he did. Barry Cotter came back in, was really solid at right back. Moles, who I can confirm did win the player of the season vote last year, he had a pretty average season. 7.05, very good, but not quite his usual standard. And then the likes of Parsons, Everett, who got the most assists in the league, only just over a 7 there, and Harvey Holcroft as well. So many players having a really good season. So there's not much to complain about really. You can see that those who are moving on are generally towards the bottom of that table. A couple of others who are getting another chance. Peter McLaughlin, lots of short sub appearances, so I don't want to judge him just yet. Next season will be the big one for him. But that's my plan for the season. That's how the lads all got on. The top scorers, John Webb with 30, you can't argue with. 16 assists for Everett, both top of the league in their respective fields. But of course we've got to talk about player of the season vote this year. That will be in the eye above right now. And of course my candidates are going to be as follows: John Webb, Matthew Smith, Luke Thomas and Alan Tordoff. I can't argue with those. I hope you can't either. If you do want to vote for someone else, maybe just a surprise. Someone like Cotter coming in and gluing it together. Connor Jackson being a surprise off the bench. Then let me know down in the comments why you've gone for them and who you're voting for. But otherwise, please do vote on those 4. Let me know who you think, have your say. And just like Moles this year, we'll announce the winner in next season's end of year review. So that's all we're going to focus on this summer. I don't want to make it too labour intensive because we could lose 3 or 4 players. We could have loads of reviews to sign contracts or want massive money. So it could be a bigger regeneration. But that's what I want to happen. I never promise it is what's going to happen. But that's what we're hoping for from this transfer window. So we'll see if we can go and do that. You'll obviously find out on Saturday. So make sure you come and join the transfer special. But we've got one bit to do before we finish off. We're going to skip ahead to June now. Get to the end of the football season. Wait till the Champions League final's been played. And we'll be back to look at the English football pyramid and see if there's any shocks in there as well. We've jumped into the future to mid-June now then, and Arsenal have won the Premier League, the first time in 4 years for them. They seem to just be winning it every 3 or 4 years. In fact, it just seems to be rotating that way. City 4 years apart, Liverpool 4 years apart, and now Arsenal 4 years apart. So based on that, I'm guessing Chelsea will win it next year. They're only 2 points off this time round, actually. Kylian Mbappe still their star man, still winning the Ballon d'Or every year. He's absolutely sensational. 29 years of age, you can't really beat that. So no surprises there up there as well. Tottenham in the Europa League, that means they must have won the Carabao or FA Cup. Leicester breaking into the top 6 this year. Brighton, Palace, Burnley down to the Championship. Who will they be joined by? So we've got the playoff final won by Middlesbrough. They're back to the Premier League with champions Wolves and Birmingham. Couple of Midlands clubs there. Leeds and Norwich missing out. And I'm afraid we're missing out on my beloved Luton Town. They have gone down to League One, so we're taking their place. Notts County and Bristol Rovers, how far adrift are they? 16 points, that's appalling. So they've gone down, and unfortunately we won't be playing any of them next year. Probably would have fancied our chances against Bristol Rovers. Fulham narrowly escaping, they've got to be worried. But otherwise, no real shocks in the Championship. Notts County perhaps doing well to get back to Championship level, actually. Dorking winning League One, we knew all about that. They've been joined by Ipswich, which we knew, and Portsmouth, who won the playoffs. So Sunderland and Bolton again staying down. Charlton and Wigan missing out on the playoffs entirely. Wycombe, Lincoln, Plymouth and Oxford down. Again, no massive shocks. A few clubs that are established in League One, but nothing really massive going on there. In League 2, Brentford are up via the playoffs. That's 2 promotions for them in this series now. MK Dons, Northampton and Orient. Orient again a side that just came up to League 2 in real life. Burton and Fylde down. Burton out of the Football League. Obviously came up in the late 2000s. Up as high as the Championship. Been in League 1 in real life recently. They're down out of the Football League again. I guess that's a bit of a shock by these standards. Moving on to the National League. Have we got any big news in there? Telford winning it to come into the Football League. Chester up with 106 points. Cambridge down. Cambridge into the regional leagues. That's a little bit of a shock to me. I know they were a National League side for most of the time. They played against Luton quite famously a few times in the early 2010s. But them going down, that's a little bit of a surprise to me. Aldershot, Maidenhead and Welling joining them. And to the north, where I presume Cambridge will be playing because of the weird split. And they'll be playing Cambridge City. Could you have imagined that? Cambridge City lost in the playoff final. They could have been higher than Cambridge United. But Curzon, Ashton and Nuneaton up as it stands. Macclesfield down. Wow. Macclesfield out of the playable leagues. Basford joining them. Leamington and Farsley. What a fall from grace. It wasn't even that close. 6 points in the end separating them. And then finally in the National League South, it's Bournemouth and Hendon coming up. Hungerford, Concord, Tonbridge and Weston-super-Mare. No shocks there going down, to be honest. But there are a couple of big ones. Burton out of the Football League. Cambridge down from the National League. And Macclesfield out of the playable leagues entirely. That's 3 shocks in my books. Let me know if I've missed anything else in the middle. Anyone caught your eye there? But there's definitely some shocks this season. But moving on, we're going to go to the FA Cup next. Let's get the domestic competitions out of the way. Arsenal making a double, beating runners-up Chelsea. In the Carabao Cup, what else have we got? City beating Tottenham. So is that how Tottenham got in Europe, from losing the Carabao Cup? Perhaps, I guess, out of the other cup competitions. Moving on, we've got the Community Shield, or maybe they won the Europa League, actually. Chelsea beat Liverpool in the Community Shield. Down to the Leasing.com trophy. That's won by Portsmouth on penalties against Wigan. So promotion and the trophy, that's a good result for them. The FA Trophy last, Chester won that. In as well as dominating the National League, they've also won the final. What a season for them, a double there. Finally, European competitions. So the European Champions League, it has been won by Liverpool. They've started early, so we can't see those results. Let's go back and see what the final score was. So fixtures and results. Let's just go back to the 27th of May. Liverpool beat Chelsea. So there's a big all-English tie. The English dominance has returned in Europe. The Europa League. Inter Milan beating Arsenal in the final. So another English side making it, but Inter getting the medal. And in the Europa League 2, will there be a Scottish winner again? Let's go back and look. It's teasing us. They don't want us to find out. It wasn't. It was Tottenham. That's how they got there. Winning the Europa League 2. Eibar, the defeated finalist from Spain. No real shocks there. Tottenham must be the biggest club in that competition. So all across the board, English dominance returning to Europe. Just the Europa League where they lost out in a final. And otherwise, the English pyramid had some real shocks this time. So a little bit different to usual. But if you did enjoy this end of season review, which we will leave here, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Your support's much appreciated, as I say. I really can't thank you enough for continuing to watch. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and turn that notification bell on. We've got lots of new series coming on Sunday, hopefully our first ever live stream, work permitting, and we've got 2 big episodes in the meantime as well. The end of season with Salford in the head coach, can we gain promotion there? And then of course we'll have our big transfer special on Saturday, can we prepare Dorking for life in the Championship? And then a transfer special from our other series, a live stream on Sunday, and the start of our football stadium review. We'll also on Sunday over on our podcast channel, we'll be having a start of our FM network career, so myself against my co-host, 2 different clubs in League One. Who's going to come out on top? Good over a full season that I get to pit my wits, and if I lose it probably will be embarrassing. But we've picked similar clubs and we've had great time making it, so I hope you enjoy it too. And finally, of course, let me know down in the comments what you thought of my planned transfer work for the summer, anything I missed from the end of season reviews. I'm interested to get your thoughts, of course. Do you think we can survive in the Championship? I know the jury's out in my book at the moment, but I hope to see you next time for the transfer special, and thank you again for watching. And with that done, I better go and get very busy.